Hey guys, so it looks like New Jeans and New Jeans Mama are about to get a taste of their own medicine when it comes to injunctions. Here's a heads up on what's to come legally, especially this week. On March 7th, on Friday, Korea time, there's going to be the first hearing for the injunction case to essentially have the court legally declare that New Jeans needs to stop going rogue and signing their own advertising contracts and doing their own independent economic activities in breach of their contract with ADOR and HYBE. It's only going to be the first hearing, so it may not be ruled on Friday, but injunctions happen a lot quicker than an actual court case, as we saw with the New Jeans Mama situation with her injunction to protect her job back last year in April and May. But I wanted to give you a heads up because when Friday comes, there might be a big hubbub and it might get lost in the news because that is potentially the day when we're going to hear about the impeachment ruling for President Yoon. You know, back during Christmas time when he declared martial law on Korea. So experts are thinking that the Constitutional Court will rule on President Yoon's impeachment either this Friday, March 7th, or the following Friday on March 14th. So this is also a heads up of, what to expect down the pike and what, might come up where this whole drama might get lost in the mess. And as much as the Jezebel Institute of Treachery definitely teaches and preaches to make a hubbub when you really have no leg to stand on, there's another lesson from the JIT in the more advanced section where you use other big news events to hide and sweep under bad news for the Jezebels under the rug. So we're talking about hearings now. Hearings is essentially you show up to court, you present your evidence, both sides, and then most often what happens is that the judge says, okay, you guys have rebuttals against each other, come back again with more evidence and file it in the meantime. And so the first hearing is March 7th, this Friday, for stopping New Jeans from pursuing independent advertising deals, but most likely within 4 weeks. The injunctions move faster. We'll probably get a decision on that. Interestingly enough, right around that time is going to be the first hearing to confirm the contract validity. ADOR, remember, sued New Jeans saying that, look, this contract is still valid and we want the court to validate and just say, yes, this contract is still valid and therefore you can't go and traipse, all over the world, going to Singapore, showing up on Ale and then going to Hong Kong and, running a complex con over there. And so the hearing, though, for the lawsuit is just going to be one out of many, and it could drag on even for years. And this is going to be, I think, when they really begin to get a grasp of the state of limbo that this lawsuit situation will put them in. Because no matter how much they declare that they justly and legally I also violated their contract, but essentially terminated their contract, they're going to find that there may not be a lot more opportunities after just, showing up in Singapore on L or traipsing over to Hong Kong to run a complex con. I think they're going to be finding that their state of limbo is going to be grating. Because if you look at, never feel sorry for the JIT graduates. However, it does seem a little bit sad now how they think they're really seeing what it is like to be an independent artist, essentially. They don't really have a label, at least they haven't said, and that would violate contracts and get the label that might be salivating in, wanting to put them cookies on their shelves, in trouble. So you can see like there's a bit of hesitation on that. So they are like independent artists right now, but with a whole like a albatross hanging on their neck. And it really does limit what they can do in terms of production, never mind performance, but in terms of production. Who is going to be making their songs? Who is going to be doing their choreography? Who is going to be doing their music videos? Who is going to even allow them to be played on networks? They did establish more social media channels like Twitter or X and Facebook and TikTok under the NJZ official handle. However, they're probably now responsible for doing the content. And when you have like a whole infrastructure like HYBE, and especially if you don't know, and if you're like, if your first taste of shopping, is at like Saks Fifth Avenue or something, you're gonna have a real hard time at the Dollar Tree. And it's looking like they're beginning to probably see how tough it is without the support of the company that they hated so much that they needed to leave. And you know how I think, yes, the New Jeans girls should take responsibility for what they have done as well, because, now they're not all kids. They kind of, they've seen the game. However, at the same time, I do feel like now we're beginning to see how really they are being taken advantage of. Not saying that they're not complicit and agreeing and, willing participants in it, but I don't think at this point now, seeing it, how much they don't realize how much they're being used. Remember when there was the whole discussion and the accusations launched at HYBE to not use artists as shields? Well, right now, New Jeans Mama definitely looks like she got 5 shields. And maybe, they're holding right now, but the attacks are wearing them down. And rightfully so. When you try to go off and steal from somebody, that person needs to defend its turf and property. Otherwise, then it's just open season for everybody else to come in and steal from you. So it's not looking good for New Jeans. We've seen some recent developments that start to then now connect more dots. But on the big picture, if the court rules against New Jeans, we know they're going to have significant financial penalties in the hundreds of billions of won, which basically means hundreds of millions of dollars. And even if they win, there's going to be more lawsuits with trademark infringement just because they changed their name to NJZ. Even they admitted in like media interviews saying that like, well, we didn't really want to stray too far from New Jeans. And so that is not, a session with Judge Judy about like, like, is this or is this not gonna be a trademark infringement even though it's NJZ instead of New Jeans? That's gonna really then show to us another example, and especially in the K-pop world, how far trademark laws go and how this particular group of judges would rule on that. And of course, that can take time. So all of these things are going to be not so quick and fun in terms of a timeline of like, yeah, well, we can do whatever we want. It's going to then now stress out the timeline of the master plan. Definitely we saw, if we believe 100% of Minijin, New Jeans Mama's rendition of the story of why they created such elaborate plans for stealing ADOR out of HYBE and sabotaging and tampering, that was all for fun, they said, to relieve stress. I don't think anybody buys that. And there was an audit to essentially prove that. So it looks like it fits into a master plan. And remember, they even had it called Project 1945. So we didn't see the other allies or players in the game immediately, but now it's looking like the dots are definitely connecting. A lot of you guys have said that, yes, it looks like it's a Kakao alliance with foreign investors, maybe, Chinese investment money and also maybe Saudi investment fund money, whether those entities are investing or not. I mean, there's so many ways to collect that sort of investment capital, even just buying Kakao shares on the open stock market for those entities to indirectly invest in some sort of venture. So let's say that even if we say that they're not the actual investors, it does look like there is a very huge proven Kakao tie-in, although, we don't have the exact smoking gun of how much directives we're getting from Kakao, but there was the new release. I guess somebody leaked it. Somebody leaked to a media organization that got the exclusive. And it was essentially the deal points of the acquisition of the music video director Shin's company. So remember, all of, before this mess, even if, you loved the New Jeans music videos, and I say they were very well done. Creepy, weird, had very bad messages, but very, very, very well done. And it looked like definitely like somebody who was committed. And then we have throughout this conflict a clear division in the factions where the music video director pledged his allegiance to New Jeans and New Jeans Mama, and even left HYBE or ADOR, the working relationship back in September, saying he has to follow New Jeans Mama because he can no longer, stand HYBE and ADOR. Now, why would there be a huge financial push? Because you can kind of say the way that it was in the media was like, well, this is my preference, or like, this is the working relationship, or I don't really like HYBE and all that kind of stuff. There is immense financial pressure on this man that would make people tie their boats together in order to try to, it's either win big or just die altogether. And that is unfortunately one way, or a very effective way, especially among JIT people, to have coordination and consolidate goals and have solidarity, is when you're kind of all together on a subterfuge kind of like sneaky plan. So Kakao, this is confirmed, Kakao did acquire director Shin's company called Dolphiners Films, and he's a music video director, also like advertising deals. So anything in the commercial video type of world, that's where he was getting contracts and deals, and where he started his own company. This deal was completed all the way back in 2021. And this is like the breadcrumbs, I think, of, it looks like Kakao may be reassembling the anti-Isuman faction from SM Entertainment. So remember how Minnie Jin said that, oh, she left on good terms with Isuman, but a lot of people don't believe that. And Kakao was in that acquisition battle for SM Entertainment against HYBE, and the Kakao side was siding with the anti-Isuman. Isuman, of course, is the founder of SM Entertainment, and there was a coup over there, yes, and they kicked him out, essentially. And it's not as if his hands are completely clean, but just to show you where the football teams are. And so Kakao definitely already established that it had been in alignment with the anti-Isuman SM Entertainment faction, acquired SM Entertainment, among a lot of other entertainment conglomerates, to really look like they're building up to go against HYBE. And so part of this deal with the Dolphiners film guy, what makes it very clear that this director has a real incentive to figure out some way, come hell or high water, to be able to fulfill his deal points. Otherwise, it looks like his super big deal could turn super small. So overall, it was 30 billion won, which a lot of people are saying like is overpaid. Why are they overpaying? Well, if you get people together who are all on one team to, you overpay for your military equipment, essentially, like in a war. So 30 billion won, which with today's exchange rate is like $22 million. But, in your mind, you could think like $30 million. He got 14 billion won in cash. So today's exchange rate, about $10 million. And what about the remaining 16 billion won? He was required in this deal to get that in stocks. So he had to use that cash to buy Kakao stocks. So about maybe $11 million, $12 million in Kakao stocks. It's smart for Kakao, even if it looks like they are overpaying for this company, but more than half of it goes directly back into the company. And so the reason why people said that this was like way overpriced was that usually you value the acquisition of a company, based on their EBITDA, or basically earnings before taxes, depreciation. And what you usually do is do a multiple, where we heard multiples before, about 5 times that price, but he got 30 times EBITDA, or 25 to 30 times, which is essentially like the valuation of like on the stock market for a company for the long-term share price. And he had some good revenue, but it doesn't look like it would, warrant this. But there is kind of a tricky clause in this because Kakao's not that stupid. And so part of this deal requires Director Shin to bring in an operating profit of 18 billion won by 2026. So they signed it in 2021. And then in 5 years, he's supposed to deliver 18 billion won in operating profit. That's not revenue, that's profit after everything. You pay out all of your expenses. And so that's essentially like 25 years worth of profit that he had to bring in 5 years. Now, if you're saying like, well, we're just going to be a fantastically growing company, so 25 years worth of profit is based on our old figure when we were starting out, but we're seeing that we're going to be getting on these deals. But I don't know, ain't no music video that good, ain't no advertising campaign that good that would go towards the production costs of that. I see that as very, very optimistic. And the critics of Kakao like talk about corporate overlords or overreach or taking advantage of people. Let's shine the spotlight on an example where actually it does look kind of unfair. Not that I want to say it's unfair to Director Shin, but they're saying that it's essentially like a slave contract. So if you can't make this $18 million or 18 billion won in profit in 5 years, then you just have to keep working and working and working because you become an employee of Kakao. Just keep working and working and working until you can hit that target. And if you are realistic, if it's 25 years worth of profit and you really are going to be kind of maintaining the same level, then you're going to have to work 25 years more. They didn't say what the penalty would be because Kakao saying like, well, we're not disclosing deal points, and that's definitely understandable. But what is the penalty clause that was in that agreement? Was it you're going to forfeit all of your shares, so about half of your deal, or was it you're going to forfeit 100% of your deal? We don't know exactly what it is, but we do know that there is a financial pressure on director Shin to bring in a lot of revenue, and it doesn't look like he would be able to do it without hitching his wagon as part of a master plan on like a mini Jin situation where he becomes the main music video director for all of her artists. We don't know what kind of agreements or soft agreements or discussions they may have had for hitching together, but we do know they've hitched together, and we do know that he's pledged his loyalty to Mini Jin and New Jeans. And of course, for him, that doesn't come for free either. But I'm seeing a situation where you connect the dots. He would most likely have a better shot at being able to hit that revenue target if Mini Jin were successful in 2024, like last year, ride it at, steal ADOR from HYBE. And then I'm thinking, even in that case, it would still be a tough climb. So I'm pretty sure, if you put your JIT thinking caps on, what he could probably do is, re-engineer or sort of negotiate some sort of merger or partnership with ADOR to then reduce that. But now that ADOR is no longer in any way the property of Mini Jin, aside from her 18% shares in it, that's not a possibility anymore. So over in that land, that seems like that is probably tense days over there between those two. Now, to underscore the situation and the legal climate that is preceding the Friday ruling, we're seeing that 5 big music organizations got together. They released a statement together. I'm wondering if these are the 5 Eagle brothers that suddenly, decided to fly in a different direction. That maybe Mini Jin was trying to get them on her camp, and maybe some of them Eagles dipped down, a time or two to take a look at the cookies. But it looks like usually when that happens, you're trying to cover up that base and then just be like, more forcefully against when you see that the wind has shifted. And the parents didn't like this at all. The parents, with their, fly-by-night Instagram PR agency, said that they're making false statements and they shouldn't have done that because it was based on baseless allegations to oust the former CEO of ADOR. Honey, no. Baseless? There was a whole audit. There was whole evidence. There was a whole project plan. Those are not baseless. If any employee did that in any company, there would be so much hell to pay. And so far, HYBE and ADOR, they've been playing it very cool and collected and very careful. Well, it's good, in my opinion, that these 5 music groups, music industry associations, are siding with ADOR because they see that overall for the industry, as we've said before, that the New Jeans case could set a dangerous precedent, which they do not want. They want, and they were addressing the public, but really lawmakers. So this is where it becomes I think, a bit of a chess move, because the lawmakers have been just recklessly siding with ADOR and, Mini Jin and New Jeans to like their political detriment. And I think what they're trying to do is also stave off an attack of, let's say these legislators got mad at the HYBE and ADOR faction and then started launching punitive legislation that had no due process or real expert review. That's what they're saying. They're saying that, look, if we just honor contract law, the way that just follow the law that's already on the books and reaffirm and confirm the validity of exclusive contracts and the fact that tampering can result in breach of contract, then we're good. We don't need any more new laws and regulations from y'all, because obviously the lawmakers have shown that they don't even know the difference between freelancers, regular employees, and the B2B sort of contract that the New Jeans members are essentially under as entities, as art under the artist contract, and that they obviously don't even know employment law when they're supposed to be making the laws. And so they don't want to have a precedent or a situation where this type of public opinion fueled frenzy then makes the lawmakers stressed and pressure them to show that they're doing something by passing some ridiculous law that would then create further complications in the music industry. They're saying, like, just validate the exclusive contract, because that's only fair in the sense that the agencies have to invest so much in the artists. So you can't just invest in them and then they run off and sell their cookies elsewhere. And also tampering. Now, tampering is a term originally used in professional sports. And in that situation, I think that refers to, the unauthorized trying to steal maybe the sports players from their exclusive contract, or creating situations. It's not like a direct stealing, but creating a situation where then maybe the sports team is like, oh, well, okay, fine. You leave, and they leave. Maybe they pretend that they're performing less because they have like a guaranteed better offer, from somebody that's trying to woo them away. But it's also now used in the entertainment industry to refer to unauthorized contact with artists who are still under an exclusive contract to lure them away. So this term being already established in the sports world, which in Korea also has they seem like they're more kind of neighboring sister industries, is going to work well, I think, in the court of law and as a example of precedent. And so this is good in the sense that these 5 big organizations are essentially issuing a veiled threat that, look, we got our eyes on you. Maybe they are the Eagles, or Hawks or something. They're always, kind of circling around and looking. And so now they're saying that we're looking at the lawmakers, we're looking at the judicial system. So do what's right. So that dolphiner thing, we're talking about a lot of animals here, eagles, dolphins. Well, I think that dolphiner deal, especially after New Jeans Mama started to get close with the music video director, and then, he's saying like, well, I got 30x EBITDA. And then you remember there was like such an obsession with Mini Jin to get a higher multiple on her stock option deal. And I'm wondering, if her stomach was hurting a little bit and she wanted to get 30x as well. Stomach hurting is essentially a Korean expression of jealousy or envy. So they say, like, if somebody close to you, like your relative, or they always say like, if your brother, gets something good or buys some land or something, your stomach hurts. And so that's supposed to, signal like a condition of jealousy. So maybe his stomach was hurting a little bit. But remember, like, she called it an illegal audit. Now that we're talking about legal things that are coming up, she called it an illegal audit. But then where is the legal case against HYBE for conducting the audit if it was so illegal? Why doesn't she take legal action against HYBE for making an audit? Nothing like that. Remember, she called it like, oh, it's like illegal plagiarism. Where is the legal case of plagiarism against Source Music and HYBE and all of the other entities, or even maybe the shampoo company that is like, pushing long straight hair? She didn't do it. She called it illegal bullying. So where's the case? Where's the case of illegal bullying from their situation beyond a complaint? They filed complaints. They're really good at complaining, yes, and then making it like an official complaint. But update on that, all of the complaints, like the things that really didn't even make it towards a legal suit or situation, not even entering court, they've all been closed against the Bunnies, New Jeans, Mini Gen side. Remember, the Ministry of Employment closed the case about Honey's alleged bullying. Said no, she's not an employee. Legal labor laws don't apply to her. And then even if they did, they would have a really tough time proving that in court, and that little one incident as being enough to trigger the labor laws. The Ministry of Employment also closed the case, revoking HYBE's top employer status on the basis of Honey's alleged bullying experience. They closed a case against a fan who filed a case on Honey's behalf about the alleged bullying. They closed the case against New Jeans' former manager who was the one that was contacting advertisers and breaching contract and all sorts of regular real laws. And that person saying like, oh, I was like harassed and forcibly detained. And gosh, they asked me to return my company laptop and phone. Well, that case was closed, saying like, HYBE is the good guys there. They closed the case also on the vice president who accused HYBE of an illegal audit. So all this proves that HYBE has been doing things legally. I know a lot of people are saying like they're just going so slowly. But in this type of situation, they may know, like now that this other dot is connecting, that there's a time pressure on being able to leave, make money, fulfill other chain reaction events, like, namely like one example, Dolphiner guy needs to like bring in the revenue. So he's probably pressuring Minjin, get it all together, get it all done, and dragging, making it slow, ruins the plan. Because if you hatch a plot like this, you hatch a con like this, you can't stay in town for long. You gotta carpet bag it and go. And HYBE is just pulling on that thread of that carpet bag, being like, let's see how it unravels, sweetie. And by HYBE somewhat tacitly allowing the New Jeans girls to go off and do their own independent activities as NJZ, in the end will probably work out for them, because they're not doing any of the work to, set up all of these events, but they can definitely file for claims on that revenue and impose a penalty fee on top of that. And in some ways, I think that explains the somewhat perplexing reaction from Pang Si-hyuk and HYBE about the upcoming Hong Kong performance by New Jeans. New Jeans' parents again saying like, oh gosh, they tried to sabotage our event, and called the Complex Con people, saying that they should take New Jeans out of it. And which I think they should. And they were directly accusing Pang Si-hyuk, trying to, put the target on his back about that. But HYBE officially said that, no, when we talked to them, we said, okay, let them do it, but make sure you use the name New Jeans and not NJZ. I guess in some ways that could be interpreted as, oh, they tried to stop it, because for the New Jeans NJZ team, they would probably be like, well, we can't do this unless you call us by our new name. And so in their mind, well, like if the Complex Con people agree to Pang Shi-hyuk and saying, or not even Pang Shi-hyuk, he didn't make the call, HYBE side saying like, we got to use New Jeans, and they're probably like, well, then we can't do it. And that's on them. That's their choice to make, but there was no sabotaging of it. So it's not looking good for New Jeans. It seems like they're kind of stagnating. They just, they released a teaser clip, so they say, about their new music, but it just seemed like you can just make that on ChatGPT. I mean, how is that a song? How is that a clip? It's just some weird like animation that really doesn't give you a taste of anything. And I think they're really saying like, they don't got all the recipes for them cookies anymore. It's looking a little bit bland. And meanwhile, Pang Shi-hyuk seems like he's being demure, mindful, like, going to J-Hope's concert, and then now acting like a big boss, rubbing elbows and going to the meetings of FKI, which is a Federation of Korean Industries. So that's only a club that all the top conglomerates of Korea can be part of. So let's see what happens on Friday. It's going to be a long game, but the Friday first hearing for the injunction ruling will probably not drag on to too many other additional hearings before we get an answer. However, the breach of contract case could go on unless it's fast-tracked somehow by the judges within the court. So hopefully we'll get a resolution to this. And then the big interesting thing would be, now if the contract is valid, the injunction goes through, what will the New Jeans members do? Will they come back, saying sorry, and then being the ones to really bow to Pang Shi-hyuk in apology? Not in the elevators, ladies, not in the elevators. A real apology, K-drama style, probably in the lobby of the HYBE building. That's what I would like to see. Otherwise, it's going to be horrible for them and their parents there's no way they're going to be able to pay that $500 million fine for contract violations. And so the door is still open technically for them to return to HYBE. And, I bet maybe, I'm hoping the 16th floor has already been fumigated, remodeled, and redesignated, but I'm sure they would be able to find them a space, on the basement level. All right, guys, what do you think? Put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and see you again next time. Bye-bye.